3 weeks away from the most anticipated fight in boxing in the last 10 years in boxing for me personally. Stephen Fulton versus Naoya Inoue. Now, for the last 2.5 months, I've had Naoya Inoue fans attacking me in my comment section, telling me that I'm an idiot, telling me that I'm racist, telling me that I don't know anything about boxing, and that Naoya Inoue is a special fighter, and that he's incredible, and that I don't see the amazingness that Naoya Inoue brings to the game of boxing. Listen, I know that Naoya Inoue is a good fighter. I've never taken away from his power. I've never taken away from his skills. But I just think that Stephen Fulton is special. You guys saw what Jaron Ennis did this weekend. I think Stephen Fulton, who spars with Jaron Boots Ennis, by the way, is going to show the world that he is a special fighter. I mean, the fact that he's willing to go fight Naoya Inoue in Japan at 4 a.m. on a Tuesday speaks volumes about Stephen Fulton's character. He loves being a road dog. He doesn't need a fan base behind him to feel motivated to win this fight. He can do it being a road dog. You have to respect a fighter like Stephen Fulton, a guy who's willing to do everything with his back against the wall to try to win a fight, knowing that all the odds and all the speculations are against him. That is a true champion, a true warrior. And my prediction stands as follows. Stephen Fulton is going to beat Naoya Inoue. Naoya Inoue is going to come into this fight with the same strategy he comes in with every fight, that he's going to dominate his opponent, he's going to knock his opponent out early, and that he's going to kill and dominate. But he's in for a rude awakening. He's never been in the ring with a black American fighter to the degree of Stephen Fulton, who's a tremendous, great boxer, technician, and a good defensive fighter. People always bring up punch stats. I don't care about punch stats. When you aren't a casual of the game of boxing, you have to look at the eye test. And the eye test tells you a lot. Naoya Inoue is used to beating up a lot of smaller guys. Stephen Fulton will not be the smaller guy. Stephen Fulton is used to fighting big, huge, humongous guys like Figueroa. So if he can fight huge guys like Figueroa, he's perfectly battle-tested to fight a guy like Naoya Inoue, who's not nearly as aggressive as Figueroa and is much tinier. So come July 25th, we're going to see history be made, but it's not going to be the history made what people think. It's going to be Stephen Fulton getting his hand raised in Japan, beating Naoya Inoue, and moving up that pound-for-pound list, and eventually getting Naoya Inoue off that pound-for-pound list, because I'm tired of seeing him at number 2. And I think that's a ridiculous to the game of boxing to have a Japanese fighter at number 2. And I understand a lot of people in my comment section have said boxing has nothing to do with race. But in the years dating back to the 1800s, black American fighters have dominated the game of boxing, and to now say that a guy from Japan, who, by the way, a guy from Japan has never dominated the game of boxing, to say he's the second best fighter pound for pound right now, top 10 ever, is it just a disgrace to the game of boxing, and Stephen Fulton will shut that up real quick. And in other boxing news, there are a lot of people out there hating on Steven Jackson for getting hired by Showtime Sports and becoming an announcer. Now, I get it. If you are a boxer who doesn't make a lot of money and you want to get on a platform, you know what I'm saying, to be an announcer, I could understand why you'd be mad that Steven Jackson got hired. But we have to understand something. There are a lot of announcers or people in the boxing game who never have stepped into the ring or have never actually fought into a professional setting or a sparring session. Steven Jackson's been in street fights, just so have I. I've never been a professional boxer. I've never been in a sparring session as a boxer, but I have been in a street fight just like Steven Jackson. And to me, if you love the game of boxing, if you feel like you know the game of boxing, you've been around it for 2, 3, 4 decades, and you decide that you want to talk about it or have a platform about boxing, you should absolutely be able to. I don't think that you have to step into the ring or actually be a fighter professionally to know or talk about the game of boxing. There's a lot of people out there that are very upset that Steven Jackson got hired by Showtime, and my opinion to them is that they're hating. Steven Jackson is going to bring different avenues to the game of boxing that the game of boxing hasn't had in a long time. I went around Philadelphia in the inner city today asking people had they watched the Jaron Boots Ennis fight or had they heard of Stephen Fulton. And the average black person has not heard or seen them fight before. And that just tells you where boxing is right now. A lot of people don't talk about boxing. You would think that it would be the 3rd or 4th most popular sport, but no. You could honestly make an argument that it might be like the 6th or 7th most popular sport. So by us talking about boxing, or by Steven Jackson talking about boxing, it's going to only raise the popularity for the game of boxing, which will do boxing great wonders for the future. Steven Jackson knows enough about boxing that all he could do is elevate it from a business standpoint. I don't think that he can hurt the game of boxing by being involved. So I'm very happy for what Steven Jackson is doing, and I hope it opens up for more people about boxing, because the goal for boxing is for more people to watch it, not for it to be within its own boundary.